LiveONE TV here with Capital Mouse House in our backdrop. I'm Dion Powell, District Leader of the 78th Assembly District, Assistant State Director of Blacksett, New York. And we have our host here, Mr. Ian Carpenter.
How you doing? Thanks, Dion. All right, here we are in New York City. It really is Trump Monday today, isn't it, in New York?
That's right. I have a Trump rally to go to outside Trump Tower this afternoon from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with some of my friends, the Proud Boys. So as you can see, this has made a nice alliance from far right to far left, and everybody's coming center from all walks of life.
That is amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
So am I.
For people who are Trump fans, yeah, a lot going on here in New York. There is the hush money case. Now, sometimes they give these court cases, these like titles. It's actually number like 150203.
Right.
You know, it's got a court index number.
Index number.
But they got to give it a title to sell it, you know.
Sensationalization.
You said sensationalize it a little bit. So they've given this one a few names. I think they're calling this the Hush Money Fund, you know.
Always with Donald Trump.
And they also call it the Stormy Daniels case, you know.
Oh, they used to call that, but then they rebranded it after what, 2020?
Right, I see. To a hush fund case?
Right.
Yeah.
And you got your man Cohen somewhere in the backdrop.
Who's that?
Michael Cohen?
Who's that?
Isn't he the guy, Trump's lawyer, that got caught up?
Oh, Michael Cohen.
Cohen,
Yeah, Michael Cohen. He was originally called the Rat. You know, people, do you remember that period?
A rat, not a mouse.
Yeah, that's right. You know, well, that's a whole other story. It is appropriate that you're actually getting the truth here today from the Capitol Mouse House. This is a reliable source of information on government leaders. But back to Trump in New York. I talk to people on different Twitter spaces and Twitter X spaces and things like that. It seems to me people don't want to admit it, but most people are confused with all the legal cases against Trump right now, right? And number one, they're confused because it's a lot of work to follow them all, and everybody else has their own life. So it really is impractical for people to be able to follow so many lawsuits that the government has brought against Donald Trump. And, you know.
Unless you're civic engaged geeks like us who pay attention about all the warning signs as we tippy-toe towards total totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's right. And there really have been some interesting developments in this case. If I can say one thing, even for people who dislike politics, they could dislike Trump and dislike Biden. One positive aspect, I think, like take the Georgia case with Fannie, right? Fannie or Fani, I'm not quite sure. But take that case. I think that case possibly has brought people into politics because of the soap opera aspect to it.
Yes.
I mean, she was great video, you know.
That's right.
She was great video. She seemed pissed off. She was pissed off for real, not acting. And she was in a huff. And it just made for great, great tense video. All of a sudden, I found myself glued to that, reading about Wade.
You in.
You know what it was? It was Nathan Wade.
Wade.
I'm like, I found myself like, even if it wasn't about Trump, I might have been watching this case.
Yes, that's right. As the world turns.
As the world turns, right? So you may find that people who normally didn't care about politics, all of a sudden they get an idea of elections and the checks and balances within government. You might find people become interested in government after all.
Right. For the wrong reasons, but okay.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons. But yeah, so many people, I think, dislike government. They don't trust it. They don't want to get into conversations about it because they feel they're not informed enough. They feel they're going to look stupid, that, you know. So I get that too. I've been kind of in politics for a few years just as a student, right? But every now and then I reach a level where I think I'm in way over my head. There's very complicated things that go on within government. International relations and very sophisticated governmental projects. And I kind of get this feeling of, I just can't understand it, what these intelligent people are doing in the government. I just can't figure it all out.
This is the between the government and the intricacies that we talked about with the comptroller, unclaimed funds, and those systems, and politics, which are the, as I was told, the temp administrators of the entire thing. For example, one reason, as you'll see later on, is that people don't want to talk about politics of what's going on with their leaders, because then there's something called Trump derangement syndrome, where people are scared to get canceled or have their mothers turn on them if they have the wrong opinion to voice it. A lot of people have opinions on different issues and things and current events, but everybody's mostly tight-lipped until they can have the anonymity of the internet to actually express themselves in writing. And verbal conversations in the street, it's a big no-no, because in the hood, the Heights, the Bronx, Republicans are so few and far between that there are Democrats that have to pose as Republicans on paper in order to have those poll worker jobs. So of course they're going to throw away Republican voting absentee ballots from a Republican voter and all kinds of shenanigans. One thing that we recently discussed, what happened at the RNC, this person, what's her name from the RNC that just left?
Rona McDaniels?
Yeah, McDaniels actually has a job now with NBC, and that's a huge problem right now. And Vivek Ramaswamy called her out months ago for this kind of thing, because they had a debate, and even I was wondering, like, why would you have a debate in which the people involved were all Democrats, MSNBC? Why don't you have Tucker Carlson interviewing you and so forth? But now it came full circle. She has a job at NBC. She can be a liberal.
That was a big moment, wasn't it?
Yes.
We didn't expect that, right? That was one of the great things that Vivek brought to us.
Right.
All right? Because then later on you can get to, I'm sorry, I don't know if you agree, but there's a lot of negative things about Vivek. But
right.
he brought some really significant things that I don't want to forget about.
Right.
And one of them was that moment where he noted in that debate stage, as you just said, that all of the commentators came from these kind of left-wing mainstream media
yes.
companies.
She was completely compromised, and the word mole is thrown around, because now she's like, now I can be myself, I had to take one for the team, and now she's going to be like that other lady on The View that's supposed to be a Republican conservative, then just goes on to get along for these stations. But as a result, the progressive media, MSDNC and the rest, are like, oh my God, how can you hire this person? This destroys journalism, our journalistic integrity. But it goes to show you how the Republican Party, the establishment, the rhinos, as it were, is compromised, just like in New York. I was also talking about Edwin about Ed Cox in New York State, which is the chairman of the Republican Party, and how much he hates Donald Trump, and how much the Republicans, even the judiciary with the judges, they're all going to assist the Democrats in order to make sure he goes on the bus. And then in Congress, with all these current Republican congressmen that are suddenly resigning, but not leaving a way for a special election, so another Republican come in, so sometimes leaving these seats vacant. And then the whole George Santos fiasco, where they destroyed one of their own and now giving the Democrats more power. And then potentially, which is good, right? We're going to have the first black Speaker of the House in Hakeem Jeffries from New York as well. So I don't know about your thoughts about that, Ian.
I'm not up to speed with that. Is that as a result of the fallout with Mike Harris? Is that his name? Mike Johnson?
Right, the new speaker. So now you have, what's the MJG?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She's trying to put in for him to vacate the seat, which is a little parliamentary Robert's Rules procedures.
Because he just went along with the spending plan, didn't he? And
things of that nature. But the thing is, the Republicans are eating each other again, much to the Democrats' benefit. And then there are two Congress people that are resigning suddenly and, walking away, in which in their states they can't have a special election in order to replace them with a potential Republican. So then that seat will be vacated, giving the Democrats more and more numbers to actually make certain rulings within the House. And this is what the black people should know instead of racism. Oh my God, Donald Trump, police brutality. These are the intricacies that we have to know about these systems and people.
Right. It really is 3D chess, isn't it? There's a 3D chess.
Like Star Trek.
435 people are in the Congress, called the lower house, 435. And in the upper house of Congress is the Senate, and you have 2 senators for each state. And that's in your federal politics. And in addition, you'd have your executive branch of the government and your judiciary. But we spend a lot of time focusing on the people who are elected, 435 Congress people and 100 senators. So a total of 535. Sometimes you can see our program posters on media. It says Focus 535. And that means we're focusing on these people. We're focusing on them.
And keep in mind, it's a re-election year, so all these people's jobs are for grabs, especially here in New York with United States Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. So it's going to be interesting to see what I believe that New York is flippable. It's just that we need enough resources and backing here in the streets with people like me who are consultants to actually make it happen. Because the whole climate is there. Just like when Lee Zeldin ran for governor as a Republican, he came close. The whole climate was there to push him into the state capitol, but he didn't, in my opinion, professionally, he didn't have the tools and people he needed to make it happen. No. But Donald Trump does. The sentiment is there. It's just that they have to invest just a little in New York to flip it, but all those electoral college votes will be the icing in the cake and twist the knife in the blue team because he's from New York. It's Queens. It's personal for him. I knew people that went to school with Trump, but they're focusing on the swing states. But now he's spending so much money on court cases that it's, but again, Donald Trump, the new comeback kid, like Clinton, he's actually made more money off the situation. I don't know if you heard about that. He has to pay the $500,000 bond and stuff like that, fine to Tish James. But as a result, he put his Truth Social platform publicly, and now he's back up again. So he's making money. Donald Trump is making a lot of strategic moves, and he's fighting, like I tell most Republicans in New York City, a two-front war. He's fighting, actually three fronts actually. He's fighting the Democrats, he's fighting establishment Republicans, he's also fighting the fourth branch of government. What do you think the fourth branch of government is?
The deep state?
In poker, we call that a snap call. Okay, you didn't have time to think about it.
That one's easy. Give me a real question.
All right. So we have the deep state. We have the media. We have special interest groups. So now it's Trump versus the world. As a result, two things happened recently in the media. Number one, you have this guy from Shark Tank, raving inside the camera about how dangerous his president is for
that
big
Kevin
real
O'Leary?
Yes, Kevin O'Leary, another Irishman. He is ringing the bells for the marketplace in New York about how dangerous this president is. And then again, the Eighth Amendment, which is excessive force and also fines and so forth. Look it up. Your contract with America, that's one piece. Then on the other side, you have another gentleman that came on MSNBC saying, you know what, this is really making Trump a martyr. If you see Tish James ripping down Trump signs in New York City, that's just going to build more momentum Trump. He's going to be guaranteed to win. Mm-hmm. And so all those things are there. And the liberal media doesn't understand, which I say they don't want to understand, why this is happening. This momentum of support.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens today. Trump asked for a delay in the Stormy Daniels case.
What's it called?
The hush money
Thank
case.
you. We rebranded it.
Yeah. The hush money case. So that's moved to the middle, I think, of April or sometime around the second week of April. And then we are waiting to see what happens with Trump paying the New York Attorney General Letitia James case with Judge Arthur Engoron, the $500 million nearly that he has to come up with. There's a little robbery happening right now.
But come to find out, because I'm a big YouTuber, and YouTubers have a lot of videos like Doug in Exile. He's a very good podcaster on YouTuber rather. And he was saying in one of his shows that even if he paid her, even if he went to appeals court, he's still not going to be able to retain that money and stuff and get it back, which is very interesting.
Man, I think that I should make a chart that shows all the cases against Trump right now and the prosecutor, right? There's the hush money case. There's the fraud case, right? The Attorney General. There's the documents case down in Florida.
Oh, Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago. There's the insurrection case.
Ooh, keep going.
It's even easier to remember them just to remember the prosecutors' names. You got Jack Smith, who's the prosecutor in the documents case and the insurrection case. You got the Alvin Bragg is the prosecutor in the hush money case. Letitia James was the Attorney General in the Judge Engoron case. I'm sorry if I'm giving everybody a headache, but anyway.
Now you need a scorecard.
It is a strategic chess game going on. How about R.F. Kennedy Jr.? What's going on in his campaign?
Oh, well, transparency again. I was a consultant for his super PAC American Values 2024, and I'm no longer with them. So I saw an article which we already knew. The Democrats are having a whole campaign division to try to stop this man. Just give you some backstory. Around September-ish, the DNC was meeting, and people are trying like us to say, hey, you should give him a chance, let him have a fair shot in the primary. But there's no conspiracy here. If you know the DNC bylaws like I do per state, there are mechanisms and committees in which they can vote to change the rules. And I'm big on civic engagement because you could be a billionaire in China and they can still throw you in jail if you don't influence the government. And the most
Are you talking about Jack Ma?
No, but yes. So the reason why you have to be in
and
politics,
the other guy, Gao,
right?
Gao Wei or whatever.
Right, and that's very true because the reason why the man has so much power is because they have the ability to create and change the rules. So that's why you have to know these documents and committees and show up at them and try to get the sway. But no, the DNC made it very clear the candidate's going to be Joe Biden. Any other Democrats that primary him, they could get all the votes they need, but they're still going to lose because our mechanism says that our super delegates and automatic delegates per state, they're going to vote for Joe Biden anyway. So Kennedy's like, I'm out. I'm going to go third party. I'm going to go independent. Screw this. So now the articles are coming out that Joe Biden's team is actually creating a whole mechanism in the campaign to try to, make sure RFK doesn't take any votes away and he's dismissed. And I don't think, because even then there was a problem that he's getting Secret Service protection. So once again, he has no Secret Service protection. Now you can see in the media, he's a very viable candidate for president. And now they're so concerned or scared that they're putting a nice portion of the campaign finance funds for themselves to make sure nationwide per state, I believe, because as a consultant, he doesn't get on the ballot access. New York State, if he does submit his petitions, they will be objected to tying him up in court to knock him off the ballot as a independent candidate. And a whole bunch of technicalities. There's no tricks here. There's no magic. There's election laws per state. You got to know that and that kind of thing. If you're a good citizen and you know how to participate civics, then that's what it is. But yes, RFK, he has an even more uphill battle now that they're starting to see him seriously. But again, he has no Secret Service protection in case some crazy that loves Joe Biden comes up and, just like they're worried about Donald Trump's life and stuff like that. But
yeah,
he's
I'm offended by that personally. But
the Secret Service?
They don't give him the Secret Service protection. Whether I support him or not, I'm very, very, very offended. And I think that everybody in the Biden administration who has any connection to that decision at all, including the Secret Service, I'm sure they all blame it on somebody else in the game. You all should go to hell.
Oh, wow. Is that deep?
Yeah, it is that deep. You should all go to hell. Obviously, the man deserves whatever protection that we can enhance him with. It's interesting to note, Congressman Ron Paul, who was a congressman for a long time, I think 12 different terms, right. Pretty long career. He ran for president 3 times. The first time as an independent, didn't get anywhere because it was very difficult back then to get any attention. It is today, too, for independents. You have to be pretty much a Republican or a Democrat, otherwise you have an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So Ron Paul switched over to the Republican Party the second time he ran, even though the Republican Party disavowed him and really wouldn't support him at all. Anyway, I guess what was I getting into about this Ron Paul business? When Ron Paul ran for president, he declined Secret Service protection, and they offered it to him.
Right.
And he said, why should the American public have to pay for my security? And so he took care of that himself. So I don't know why. I guess.
Well, that's true too, because
a little bit of virtue signaling for if you want to create a sterling career as a politician and leave a legacy. When Ron Paul joined the Congress, this building behind me here, on his first day, you go to the Congress, they say, Dion, welcome. Here's the key to your office. Here's the account number for your parking lot at the Capitol building, and you get one. Ron Paul, on day 1, opted out of the pension program.
Oh, so explain to us how that works. I'm interested.
Right. So he figured, rather, because your term as a congressman can be very, very short. And why should the American people, for the rest of that congressperson's career, should they be paying a pension fund for him?
And so
That's right.
Let's have a commission and
Before anybody knew it.
Let's have a task force to actually just explore this reparation stuff. It's too complex for us to just dish out money like that. Wrong.